Hi, everyone.
Hey.
Happy Thursday. Yay. We made it almost through another week. Welcome to day 8 of 12 Days of Recruiting with the Staffing Shark and Staff Recruiter. Today, we have a superstar, a amazing HR leader. He probably doesn't need an introduction, but we are going to allow him to big up himself just a little bit here to start the show. We have Mr. Steve Browne all the way from Cincinnati, Ohio. And yes, he does have on his llama holiday sweater.
Look at that. Woo.
Hi, Kirsten. Hi, Richard. How are you?
Hey, good. I can say one thing real quick. We are all decked out in red today. It's like a red out Thursday. Am I right?
It is.
Woo.
I look like I'm going to a sorority meeting, though.
This is formal.
Yes.
I like
okay. Sure.
I'm not big on introductions.
Okay.
I'm the VP of HR for La Rosa's Incorporated, a regional pizzeria here in Cincinnati. We're kind of an iconic place here. People love our pizza, and they should because it's the best in the world. And I get to do everything involved with people. There you go.
That's incredible.
Okay. So since you won't give yourself the introduction that you have earned and that you deserve, I am going to have to press you a little bit. And I'll do that by way of questions. My first one. So this book that you wrote, talk about that.
Well,
on the spot.
What did I say? Tell me more.
In 2020, I released my second book called HR Rising.
Yes.
And it's about leading from where you are. It's not a new concept. People talk about leading from where you are forever. But as HR professionals, we don't. We tend to lead from position or lead from level. Like if I'm a CHRO or if I'm a VP or if I'm an executive director, then I'm allowed to be a leader. But leadership has nothing to do with titles. And it's an extension of my first book. And it's hard to say that I have 2 books.
No, that's awesome. Your first book, HR Uprise.
Yeah, HR on Purpose was about owning HR and quit apologizing for being in the best profession I've ever been in and the best profession I've ever seen. All facets of it, even the challenging parts. That's what makes it great. Yeah. And then HR Rising is more about now that you're in that leadership position. What's great is it came out and was written before HR actually stepped into leadership. I think it's hilarious that now during the pandemic, they're like, HR people are leaders. I'm like, we've always been leaders. Now, 2 things. One, HR hasn't stepped into it themselves. We've been apologetic far too long. Instead of saying, this is something this should be more natural. It was funny. I was talking to my CEO and he says, gosh, this is a huge people issue. And I said, everything's a people issue. It is. And so if it's a people issue, it's an HR issue, or it can be, or an HR opportunity. So the book talks more about that and it gives people practical ways to be a leader.
I love it. I like you said, anyone can be a leader. I've always gone by a similar mantra that you lead from your seat, especially when I talk to early career, the interns that I'm working with, lead from your seat and ask for forgiveness. Don't ask for permission. You have something to offer and you do not need to be, have a title of senior or principal or, managing or whatever, vice president, director. You don't have to have those titles and they're great, but everyone's not going to be that, but that doesn't mean that you don't add value. So I think that, when do you think that we got into that, like that was the goal, to just have a title?
I think it happened, honestly, several decades ago because organizations are still very top down. And there's been all kinds of great theories and good things about empowerment and engagement. Those things should naturally happen. But in the end, we still want to confine. So we use titles to really limit people instead of saying, in this title, this is what you should do. Make it really flowing and full. We tend to say, you're a talent acquisition person or you're a recruiter. And it automatically takes it down a level. Even how people talk about it. It's funny. When you listen to somebody say, what's your title? I'm a recruiter. They say it just drop in their voice off like, ugh. Instead of saying, I'm a recruiter, man, I bring talent into this organization. Without me, the organization doesn't get better.
I say that.
Well, I know you do. I know Richard does. Energy. But I think the thing that's interesting is most people tend to play themselves down because they're afraid of being arrogant or self-centered, and they're not that way. So instead of saying, I am this is what I bring to the organization, HR has really been the epitome of people that just sell themselves short. My favorite thing is, if they have to say, I go to HR, that tells you where you are in the organization. Because you're not part of the organization. You have to go outside the organization to get to me. Or I go to you only because of a reason. Mm-hmm. My rule of thumb is, if your department has people, you have HR. Therefore, I'm going to be in your department on purpose.
I love that. So do you think that we try to address that when we, during the rise of since we're talking about titles, the HR business partner, and do you think that that's what that was trying to address?
Yeah, I think it's semantics though.
Okay.
I know VPs who aren't VPs. I know people who are front desk people who lead more than any executive. I know pizza cooks who lead a restaurant more than a manager. Now that's being very broad and very generalized, but I'm just saying your title, unless your behavior matches what you do, your title's irrelevant. So how your behavior comes into an organization, if you're a business partner, you better be, like, I'm here. I'm not a support function. I'm a vital, integral function.
How do you feel about having HR and talent acquisition not being, labeled a support staff and actually being a cost center, like being a profit center?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think there's two things. One, we are a resource, and resources aren't a cost. They're a resource. I may have to be a go-to place. Hey, I need to find this out about compensation. You can be a person who affects the bottom line and yet not generate revenue. For instance, if I limit liability in the organization through my role, I am adding to the bottom line. If I find the best talent who will produce that revenue, I'm adding to the bottom line. If I have people who are moving the organization forward through development versus measurement, I'm adding to the bottom line. So it's more framing the work that we do versus saying, here's my P&L statement. Look, because I am overhead. There's just no doubt about it. That's just where you fall in the P&L, but it doesn't mean that you're something that takes away from the organization. It's how you choose to add value through what you do.
I love that. And I'm still, and I know we hate to say this, especially this year, in 2020, there are still people who are HR adjacent who don't know that HR does more than respond to employee relations issues or do benefits. There are people that don't know all that is under the HR umbrella. And that's unbelievable to me.
I think this is going to sound horrible.
We love that. Yes, horrible.
We're so concerned about being nice that we're not concerned about being effective. And we think that you can't be both. I can be empathetic, which is a business skill. It's not a soft skill. I can be intentional, which is a business skill, not a soft skill. And I don't have to be adjacent, but there are too many HR people who choose to be adjacent. Great peers of ours who say, well, my senior management doesn't allow. When your sentence starts with that phrase, you're already positioning yourselves as an adjacent. Yep. And if you talk about even talent acquisition versus HR is a continuum. We keep trying to make it boxes. I think it's this giant, big ocean. And there are different aspects and different things. Like my organization, we don't have a dedicated talent acquisition person, but I have two people who handle all talent issues.
Okay.
In 2021, I'm in charge of developing a formal talent strategy for the first time in the history of our company. Okay, and we're going to talk about talent from sourcing through retention.
Yes.
That is our talent
through
strategy.
retention. A lot of people think it
Oh,
stops when they
my.
get in the door.
So it's going to incorporate what people traditionally think on hiring and onboarding and training, but I want to take it through development, training, and retention, and then the end of your life cycle with us, because talent is from start to finish. However, you know, and I'll just give you an example of how to make the change. Our leadership team put together a list of what do you think should the top things for our vision be for 2021? Kind of like a strategy document, not a formal strategy document. I wrote mine, other people wrote theirs, and then we went through an exercise to say, okay, I like the dot exercise. How many dots does one get? And so talent strategy was listed as the top thing.
Wow.
I was floored. So the entire executive team, almost all of them listed it as something that we should have as an organization. That tells you where we've come. And we're a great company. We've been in business since 1954. So we've done great things in spite of having something formal.
Mm-hmm.
So now when you're on the strategy map, you are no longer adjacent.
Okay. I like that. Now, I know that you like HR and talent acquisition, that you like the meld of that. You know, I'm an advocate for TA is its own thing. We're our own thing. And I think that we get lost. And this is me getting on my soapbox just very quickly. I think that TA gets lost because if you do look inside of large organizations that have already done what you're going to do, and that's build out their job families and build out everything and say what are the typical skills for each group. I know from firsthand knowledge, like large organizations who had no idea what to do with recruiters. So they didn't give us anything. Like every other job family got tracked. And TA just was like kind of broad, like, oh, we'll work on these competencies later. And that says a lot. It's like, they don't really understand us. Like, they don't know what we do. They don't, do they not care? Or do they just not want to acknowledge how much we impact every part of the supply chain?
Mm-hmm. I think, to your point, I think it's a standalone function.
Yeah.
Where I think HR and TA come together, the melding, so to speak, is this. HR people should support talent acquisition with the organization. HR should come in and say, hey, are you using your TA Pro? Because you seem to be kind of a tool as a hiring manager, and you're really messing this up. If you go use Richard, I'm telling you, he is going to make your life amazing, but you're not giving Richard the time of day. So I can be the advocate for you from an HR perspective to allow you to do what you do, not to take over what you do. Because we dabble, always on generalists dabble. We recruit and hire as we need to, where TA people have a specified skill set, talent, and value. And it's incredible to tie it to the supply chain. You talk about value, that's a lot different than fill my job rec. We have to teach people a new language, but not by beating them up, by showing them through the good work that we do to say, this is what we do. Oh, by the way, your position's filled. If it's just about job recs. And so just like there's people who are good tactical HR professionals, there are good tactical TA professionals. When you have people like you two that are kind of above that, and I don't mean that above that in a wrong way. I mean, you look more broadly at your field.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's where you can change the language within organizations. So, how do we value what TA brings to the table? How do we value what the recruiter brings to the table in their function? So you're going to have tactical people because you need them.
Yes.
But you also need people who are strategic TA people to show, hey, we're as much a part as without us. And I'm real upfront. Without us, you don't exist. If and I'll give you a great example. We hired a director of marketing a little over almost a year ago now. Yeah, January she'll be a year. And we didn't put a job description out. We hired her just to say, here's what we're thinking, and we're going in a new direction. And we wanted to talk to people who are willing to be creative and go in a new direction. I had candidates who refused to interview. And
because they couldn't check down the list.
yes, because their experience and the tar pit that we've fallen into is we put out a job description because we're told to. Mm-hmm. The candidate comes in and mimics the job description. We're like, look how talented Steve is. We don't know if Steve's talented or not, but they matched the already set expectations. And we don't know. We say, how creative are you? Well, I'm creative because it says so on my resume or my CV. Mm-hmm. When people said they wouldn't interview because there was no job description, it told me they didn't have the talent I needed.
I love that.
The young lady that we hired, we told her, and she hired her. She's great. Oh my gosh, killing it. She had to hire a number 2. We said, no job description. She was, all right, let's do it. And so we hired her number 2, who's new in the field without a job description. And now, together with the organization, we can define their role instead of saying your role is rigidly set.
Yes, I love that.
So many companies don't. They're freaking out. They're like, if I do that, the walls will fall apart.
Yep.
No, they won't.
Plug and play.
Yeah, people don't follow them now anyway. You're fooling yourself.
Listen, if this year has taught us one thing, it's that things won't fall apart.
Amen to that.
Don't get me wrong. There's going to be chaos. There's going to be uncertainty, and some things will break. But if you get yourself together and set your priorities and you're going to get it. You're going to get there. It's not going to fall completely apart. We survived how many months now? I don't even know. I woke up the other day. I promise you, I woke up, I think it was Monday or Tuesday, and I was like, it's Friday. I had convinced myself it was Friday, and I don't even know what. I lost an entire week.
It's like the movie Groundhog Day, right? Over and
no
over
doubt.
again, right?
So what day is it? We thought yesterday was day 8. We don't even know how long we've been doing this.
Ever.
So I think I wish people would quit thinking in terms of limitations and think in terms of opportunities instead. And I know it's semantics. I know it's saying the same thing. But how we reframe, how we approach the work that we do will allow us to be the professionals that we already are.
I love all of this. I hope you guys pick up his books. I'm going to turn it over to Rich because I've been monopolizing your time. I haven't seen you. I normally have seen you already this year.
Yes. Yeah.
And I didn't get that privilege this year. So I'm a little bit geeked when he told me you were coming on the show.
She was. I tell you what, all I got was a text with 2 thumbs up. It was like, but to elaborate on everything, I think, Steve, what you just said there, I can't wait to have some blogs come out about that because that's incredible. It's all about teamwork, what it looks like. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Because what we see is HR. When you think of HR, what do you think of? Like going to a nurse or something like that. We get scared, right? It's not part of the team. But what I want to elaborate on now, and this is something I want everybody to take from this, social media, Steve, your Twitter, your Instagram, everything that you have, LinkedIn, you have so many followers. Tell us a little bit about the content you put out there and how do you get these followers to follow you?
Well, okay. I don't get stumped very often.
Oh, come on.
Here's
Richard stumped you. I love it.
My brother is a doctor down in Knoxville, and his wife is a real estate agent. She was not at the time. She had a history of being a marketing person and doing some proofreading and writing and stuff. And when social media first came out, they said, you need to be on Twitter. And I went, I'm not going to be on Twitter. I was like every other person. And they said, no, we think you already have something to say. Why not say it on a platform? So I said, okay. So I've always been someone who believes in 3 things when it comes to communicating with others. 1, be intentional. 2, be positive and encouraging. 3, be consistent and genuine. And other than that, it doesn't mean that I want other people to be like that. That is my choice. And that's how I choose to communicate, because I don't want to ever squelch somebody's differing opinion or diverse thought, because I can learn from those that don't act like me or think like me, but I can also encourage them, even though we may not be the same. I think people in my circle have made it too hard. Again, just like organizations, constrain. I remember meeting Kirsten in person. We were at a Sherm conference, and I'm like, "Hey!" It was like, and we knew each other because of social media,
Right.
and I already knew who she was because of who she was online. The early days of social media, people put up props and personas and crud, and it can't be sustained. I'm bummed that some of the really amazing people who had a lot to offer when social media first started have chosen to take other avenues, because I think they still have a lot to offer, but it takes a lot of effort and time. However, my brother put it in a great perspective. I said, "Man, this Twitter thing's going to eat me up." He says, "How long is your longest email?" And I said, "I don't know." You go, "Paragraphs." He goes, this was back when it was 140 characters.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, how long does it take you to type? I go, "I don't know, 10, 20 seconds. He goes, "There you go. That's Twitter." And I went, "Oh my gosh." He says, "So I tweet in the morning, I tweet at lunch, I don't do anything else. I do my job and I'm fine." And I went, "Oh, well, this is easy." So then when I went out there, I think the reason, this sounds awful. I think the reason people follow me is I really want to be connected to you.
Yeah.
I don't want to be connected to you just to have numbers or something. I want to know who you are, and if you're connected to me, it's on. I'm gonna know you, and I'm gonna ask about how are you doing, what's your family like, what's your business like. Where people struggle, and I think they get overwhelmed, is they want to be like the people that have thousands of followers. It's a capacity issue. If you know your capacity, you can do what you need to do. So if you're a 100-person follower guy or woman, do it, kill it. If you're somebody who can do thousands, you better keep that community going.
Mm-hmm.
If it's just about notoriety, you won't last. I've seen it happen a million times. And people that were the glitterati of Twitter and the glitterati of the early HR movement, they just couldn't keep it up. Right before I got on here, I was on a chat with people in the UK.
Yeah.
And they have the HR hour, and they ask 2 questions in an hour. I was like, I can answer 2 questions. How hard is that? Here's an answer. Here's an answer. And it's a question per half an hour. We don't understand how to allocate our time. So in between that, I was doing some email, talking about a COVID situation, doing this. I have more time than I know what to do with. It's just how you choose to use your time that matters. So to me, social media is the conversations we used to have in the halls. Now we get to have them online.
Yeah. And one thing I like about you, we don't know you, number one, like you said, you invite other people into the conversation. Like you were doing Friday follows, like you're putting people together. I don't know if you just run through your list and you do it in alphabetical order. I don't know how you do it, but somehow you get people aligned that otherwise would not have been. So that is a skill, and that's not something that you should diminish and say, "Oh, I just tweet in the morning, I just tweet at night." No, you are intentional about how you genuinely connect people to one another.
And he did that for me last week. Like I asked him 2 times, like, I never met Steve before, and he's connecting with other people with a shout out. It was amazing. They were connecting with me too, just like that.
Here's what's funny. There's 2 things. One is a formula that Andrew Morton, who used to be the social media guy for Sherm, shared. It's the 99-1 theory, and it's not his. It was out there. 90% of people on social media watch. They lurk, they watch, they enjoy. They'll watch a video. They'll go to TikTok. They'll be on Instagram. They'll watch Twitter, but they don't participate. The way they participate is watching. 9% are active, in that they'll retweet, or they'll post every once in a while, or they'll like something. Wonderful. The 1%ers are the people that you can't stop them. They just go. But what happens is the 90% thinks they have to be the 1%, so they don't get involved. And the 9%. So my thing is the 1% people, and I hate using that because of bad tones and other crud things, but just from a mathematical percentage, you're not going to stop me from doing this. I'm going to do it whether you want me to or not. Okay? You don't have to be like me, but I want you to be connected to me. I had a person who isn't as active anymore who said, hey, these shout outs are all great, but I know what do you schedule them or you automate them?
Oh.
And I had to get a hold of Twitter, and I did in a really rough way, and I'm not a rough guy. I said, I'm the person you said is allowed to do this. I don't automate my tweets. I type every single one, and I don't put them in order, and I don't have a list. And I'll just be thinking, and I'm sitting in my house, and I'll go, you know what? Kirsten, Rich, da da da, and I just in my head, I just know who you are. Mm-hmm. It's like holidays. It's like Santa Claus and his list. He knows all the names. And, I do. I know every name of the person. And when I don't, if I find someone new, I'll try to get them involved so they can start being connected to others they never would have known.
I love it. I think we're at 26:05, so I'm going to turn it all the way over to Rich because it's time for the party.
Well, I got one more question. Okay. So, Steve, I'm just happy you're on this show, Rockstar. Man, I'm just excited about this. Seriously, I am, and I can't wait to meet you in person. But how did you adapt with your recruiting this year? Just a brief summary of how you did that to maybe people out there that they can use these techniques for 2021.
I think two things that we learned was we started valuing the emotional quotient of people because in the past, we would try to suppress that. And people are highly emotional right now. When you talk about everything with the pandemic, when you talk about the social unrest, when you talk about the election, I mean, it was just this giant ball of emotion. Well, that's not going away. It actually had always been there under the surface. So what we tried to teach our managers was meet your people emotionally first and your candidates first. To say, here's what comes with the job. Here are the emotional strains of the job, not to scare somebody off, just to understand we're in a food environment. It is high stress because we crank it out. We sell so much pizza. Rich, you'll have to come over and from the dark side from Pittsburgh to have real pizza. Anyway.
There's a dig. I knew it was going to be too good to be true.
But the way to make us do that is the district manager and I made sure we took care of the emotional health of our managers. So a lot of people tell your managers what to do, but you don't provide the support they need. We are the emotional net for them. That's part of our role. So if they're healthy, they will hire healthy. The second part was this: hire for position, not title. We want to hire team members instead of cooks, team members instead of servers. I can teach you to serve. I can teach you to cook. And that's a huge shift because we hire to schedules. We're in the restaurant industry. And the biggest challenge we have is people coming to work because it's hard work. It just is. People go, it's fun work. It is fun work, but it's hard work. So when you try and help equip your managers instead of bark at your managers, the more I can equip them, the better they'll perform. If they perform, they'll hire better people. And then one of the things that we're learning is the labor shortage that was supposed to happen in 2010 is now upon us. It was actually there in 2010, but the financial crisis suppressed everything and hid it. So there were the fewer people was already there. Well, now, we're taking from each other. So somebody might work for Applebee's, and then we'll take them from La Rosa's, and La Rosa's will take them to Papa John's or whatever. We're picking each other. We're not finding new people. Right. So one of the things I'm hoping to do in 2021 to keep this going is hire for the life cycle. So if a cook averages 18 months, if I can change that cycle to 21 months, look what I've done to the hiring cycle. If I can change that to 24 months, look what I've done to the hiring cycle. So I've made a better retention model to hire better up front, to hire for a longer period of time and value them while they're there for 24 months, then wish them well when they do their next thing. It's a big hill, but we're going to give it a shot.
I like that.
Yes. Good stuff. Alrighty, so now it's time. It's the holiday twist time. Are you ready, Steve?
I'm ready.
All right, first one. Favorite holiday song?
Ooh. Do they know it's Christmas from Live Aid?
Oh, yes. That's a good one. Do you know?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I love that.
That was right when I grew up. It was big. All the 80s stars got together.
It was
Very cool.
incredible. You know which one I like a lot is Blue Christmas, Elvis. I mean, my
Oh,
mom
good song.
played that
Good song.
all the time.
Number 2, though, I just put it out yesterday. Christmas in Hollis by Run DMC.
DMC.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
You gotta love it.
Blows my mind. Love that song.
Wait, time out. So did I hear you correctly? You were just introduced to Christmas in Hollis yesterday?
No. I tweeted it out yesterday because people were saying Christmas songs. I'm like, here's a Christmas song. And they're like, Run DMC. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's the best.
It is. You know what? If you get a chance, get on YouTube. They have it when they performed on Yo MTV Raps like in 85 or 86. It's on there. Yeah. It's awesome.
I love it. It's Christmas times in Hollis, Queens.
Mama cooking chicken and
collard greens. That's Christmas, man. That is awesome. I love that.
I'm going to play that tonight while I'm drinking, right?
I'm drinking now.
Already. Favorite holiday cookie or dessert?
Gingerbread.
Ooh.
Now that's not one that anyone else has said. Do you make houses or men or people?
We make people. We make people and bells and candy canes. And we started a new tradition because my wife and I are empty nesters. So we made gingerbread cookies for our 2 adult kids, and we sent them the cookies, icing, and tips so they can decorate their own since they won't be here for Christmas.
That's so
That's
nice. Look at you. That's so awesome.
I love it. Little care package.
Wait, I think.
No, that's my wife's idea.
Oh my God. She's not the drink anymore. Oh my goodness. She's loving the holidays now.
You know what it was? It was the family thing. I just like he said his kids aren't coming home and I can't take that.
Love
they're
it.
great.
Good.
They're great.
I'll do one more, then KG can jump in here. Favorite holiday cartoon?
Charlie Brown Christmas.
That's like a classic. Almost every guest says the same thing.
Yeah.
I like Frosty the Snowman. The old
Frosty the Snowman. Oh, sure. Rudolph from when we were in Christmas in college, because you drink every time Rudolph's nose blinks. You can't make it through the hour. It's amazing.
I never had that.
Wow.
It's rough.
Never heard of that.
Okay, now we have a new drinking game. What's
Cheers. Now this is just a little Shiraz. And what are you drinking, Rich? I didn't see that.
Sam Adams.
Oh, Sam Adams.
Flavor?
Yeah, winter. Yep.
Winter ale. Like it. All right. So next question. Favorite holiday beverage, adult or otherwise?
Eggnog.
With or without the spike?
Both.
Have you had almond milk eggnog?
Ooh, no.
Okay.
I'll try it.
Yeah.
I just had eggnog this week. I love it.
Yeah, I do too.
As far as pre-mixed goes, do you ever do that or do you make your own?
I don't. I would. I'd be glad to, but no.
What's the Cincinnati brand of pre-mix?
Dean's. It's a local dairy.
Okay. Because I have Pennsylvania Dutch. And what were some of the other ones that folks had?
Southern Comfort has one too.
Southern Comfort has one. Yeah.
Spiked.
Yummy.
Yeah. Yeah, eggnog is good, but I'm lactose intolerant, so I have to be careful with stuff like that.
And it'll slip up on you too. You drink a couple eggnogs, you're like, ooh, my.
Yeah, you think it's smooth, and you're like, hello.
Is that tree spinning or what?
Okay. Favorite holiday, and this is your question, toy growing up?
Oh, man. G.I. Joe.
Ooh.
So my brother and I are 18 months apart. We're older. I won't tell you how old I am. But we got the original G.I. Joes, you know, that had the fuzzy hair and the kung fu grip and all that kind of stuff. Oh man, we had a whole army full of people. They were fun.
You still have them?
Did you like the good
No, there were playing tragedies when we would have war. Let's just leave it at that.
Oh,
Nice. So what was your favorite G.I. Joe, Steve? I got to ask you because I was Destro. You know, I love the bad stuff.
Oh, I don't know. When it started getting into the cartoons, like John Thurman, you got to talk to John Thurman. He is the huge G.I. Joe fan.
okay.
No, I had the action figures before it went to cartoons. So
Wow.
I don't remember. I don't know the characters that well. I'm sorry.
Oh.
That's okay. You want me to go with this one, KG?
Yes.
All right, Steve. This is a good one here. Fruitcake, yay or nay?
Oh, yay. My gosh, yay.
Oh, my God.
Oh,
really?
No doubt. It's awful. It tastes great, and it can stop your door. It's the best
Time
thing.
out. It's awful. It tastes great.
It does.
Is this a fruit commercial?
Oh, I love fruitcake. Love it.
We only know one other person that's been on that is a fruitcake connoisseur, and they took us down a whole path. How do you eat it? How? And I don't mean like how, because but like how do you prepare your?
Just a slice. Take a slice. Get a cup of coffee. Boom. It's just a giant thing of jelly and candy.
Do you ever heat it up? Do you ever heat it up?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Do you ever keep it for a year and eat it again?
It doesn't get old. I can tell you that.
What? Okay. Why?
Look. No, wait. People eat
food.
Twinkies, ding dongs, you name it. There's all kinds of food that doesn't expire.
That's not food. That's the point. It's not food.
It's worth its budget, right? You can never throw
Absolutely.
it away.
Absolutely. And you can get a spiked cheesecake too, fruitcake if you want to too. Those are incredible. Like they're soaked in brandy or something.
I might do the spike.
That's the black cake, I think. A version of the black cake that K Grape Sandy mentioned yesterday, Caribbean tradition. She said it's like fruitcake, but they soak the fruit first and then bake it into the cake.
Yeah, that's where you have a slice and you're done. Because if you eat more than that,
so they put it in rum. You're saying brandy.
Brandy, rum. I've heard both, but those are serious.
So did you get your fruitcake yet for the year?
No, because my wife won't eat it. So if I have it in the house, she'll be like, "What is this?" I'm like, I shouldn't have that.
We used to always make fun because, you go to the parties and it would always be the aunt would bring it and she would take it home with her. And I think it's the same one every year.
Oh, sure.
Nobody would ever touch it at our family. It's sit on a corner like, oh.
Oh, goodness. So I guess you and Celinda are the only two people who eat.
2 out of 8 so far.
We got 4 more people. So we'll see if your average comes up. We'll see. I've never, ever, ever heard of a person liking fruitcake.
Love it. We'll have to convert you.
No, thank you.
Boy.
No, thank you. I'm set in my ways. I can't. Oh my goodness. You didn't ask this one. Movie. Favorite holiday movie?
Elf.
Yes.
It's a big one. People love that.
Elves. Yes, I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you for not saying Die Hard.
Oh, well, yeah, that's not, I mean, it is a Christmas movie. I'll argue that too.
It came out at Christmas time.
and they were at a Christmas party. So, but Elf is great because it was when kids were born when it came out, and we would watch it every year.
All right. So are you watching it? It's on Netflix or Amazon Prime, I think. Like showing every day if you want to.
Oh, it's everywhere. You can find it.
Okay.
So, and it's got the greatest lines. There's a thing on Netflix of how Elf almost didn't get made. It's really interesting.
So really they have one of those, like someone was telling us about Home Alone, because we all love Home Alone. It's like our top tier holiday movie. And they were saying that how Home Alone almost didn't get made.
Mm-hmm. Because they didn't think Will Ferrell could be a leading actor. And they're like, there's no way, not Will Ferrell. And the movie would not be the same without Will Ferrell.
No, that was really funny. All right, so now we're going to ask a Cincinnati question. Because we learned something. Whenever we learn, we like to give back to the community. Mm-hmm. There's this chili. There's these chili wars in Cincinnati. There's two places, Starlight, right?
Skyline and Gold Star.
I conflated terribly. Okay. Skyline and Gold Star.
Right.
Which one?
Skyline. No question.
Is that the thinner one or the one with the cinnamon? Or are both the same?
I think they both have cinnamon. Cincinnati chili has cinnamon in it.
Okay.
The difference between Cincinnati chili and chili around the world is it's on spaghetti, and it's not in a bowl; it's on a plate. And so they'll put the spaghetti down, and they'll cover it in chili, and then mound cheese on it. You can get beans or onions, but the three-way at Skyline, my gosh! And when we'll eat there regularly, it's like a tradition, like La Rosa's.
Okay.
But it's Skyline. You know, if people are from Cincinnati and they come back, they'll get our pizza. They'll get a chili, whatever chili was their favorite. They'll get Grater's ice cream. I mean, we are a food town that has food institutions.
I love that. All right, so now when we head out to Cincinnati, when this is all over, we'll have to do a taste test and see which one we prefer.
Exactly.
That's right. There you go. I like it.
So do you guys put, chili on everything, or is that just on the pasta? Okay. Because I make fun of her. Since I learned this, do you know about Pittsburgh, like eating coleslaw and French fries on a sandwich?
I do.
Have you had it?
I've had it. It's great.
Thank you, Steve.
Oh yeah.
That's incredible, isn't it?
What's the big sandwich place that started franchising?
Permanis.
No? Well, it might franchise up there. There's one that's Permani Brothers.
Permani Brothers, yep. The
Yes.
cheesesteak, number 2, yep.
Yes. It's incredible.
Oh my gosh.
It is. Put a little Red Death on top. They have it on the table.
What is Red Death? Hot sauce?
Yes.
Yes. And it's hot. It's good.
The sandwich is so big you can't, it's just like you have to push it down to eat it.
Yeah.
So it sounds like a corned beef special with French fries.
You can get different flavors. It's not just corned beef. You can get all kinds
You
of stuff.
can get an egg on it, pastrami. You name it.
Good stuff.
It is. Hey, Steve, your stock just went up now, buddy. I got a new friend in Cincinnati now. One last thing I want to say, Steve, if you can give anybody out there a little New Year's Eve or New Year's tip for 2021 recruiters, what would you say?
Don't look at this year as the year to get out of.
Ooh.
Look at this year as to what you learned, because there were amazing things that we learned. We learned how to be agile, we learned how to be adaptable, and we learned how to lead. And why wouldn't you want to keep those all three things every year? So that should keep you going forward instead of being regretful of what the year was.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. That is awesome. So once again, please, if you don't already, follow Steve Brown, S. Browne, HR. Browne has an E. And pick up one, but both of his books, HR on Purpose and HR Rising, the 2020, the new edition. And we'll see you guys next week. We'll have 4 shows, Monday and Tuesday, 2 each day, 11 a.m., 4 p.m. Again, some awesome guests. I'm not even going to tell you who's coming on next week, because if you guys thought like each day, we've had these amazing people on, and you guys are probably like, oh, you can't do anything better than this. You can't equal this. You can't do it.
It keeps getting better all the time. And just to let you know, our little secret we're going to tell you about on Tuesday after our last show at 5 o'clock, we're going to have a holiday cheer for everybody to come on the show live and have a drink with us all and just cheer in the holiday season. So everybody is welcome to join us. So
yes,
it'll be
cheers.
fun.
Enjoy your evening. Enjoy your weekend. We'll see you on Monday.
Happy holidays, everybody.